The quiet question within. There is a moment in every life when the mind pauses and senses a deeper truth living beneath the noise. It rises like a quiet current under still water. This moment is the beginning of understanding our own nature. Some philosophies teach that character is carved from the world. Others say it is written at birth. But the ancient thinker Mencius suggested that our moral potential is neither imposed nor invented. It is seeded from within. 4 early stirrings sit beneath our awareness, like hidden roots, waiting for the right season. They shape how we respond to the world before we even speak. They shape how we judge, how we care, and how we act. Today, we uncover these 4 sprouts. Each one points toward a life of strength, steadiness, and inner clarity. The first stirring. There is a natural shift inside the heart when we sense distress in the world. It moves like a sudden wind across water. This early stirring is what Mencius called the beginning of benevolence. It does not need reward. It does not ask permission. It rises because something within recognizes vulnerability. This response is quiet, but powerful. It tells us that goodness is not foreign to our nature. It is the soil we stand on. Modern life can cause us to overlook these small reactions, yet each moment of inner softening reveals the same sprout Mencius described. It is proof that care is a built-in instinct, not a learned performance. And when we notice these moments, they strengthen. Awareness becomes nourishment, extending the first sprout. This early instinct does not grow on its own. It needs extension, the way a small current becomes part of a wider river. Mencius believed that the first sprout expands when we allow concern to move beyond what is immediately in front of us. When we learn to widen our circle of consideration, our nature becomes larger than circumstance. This is the quiet discipline of growth, to recognize a softening within, to let it extend outward, to let it shape how we move through the world. This is the beginning of benevolence. If you want more episodes that explore the inner architecture of a stronger mind, consider joining the channel so these lessons reach you the moment they're released. The sprout of integrity. Another stirring appears when we cross our own inner boundary. It feels like a shift in the ground beneath us. Mencius described this as the sprout that develops into righteousness. It is the subtle discomfort that rises when we drift away from our principles. Not punishment, not pressure. A natural alertness, like soil reminding a seed to return to its core direction. This sense of integrity is not about perfection. It is about alignment. When we pay attention to this inner correction, it strengthens. It becomes a compass we can trust. The weight of standards. There is a firmness that grows from honoring this inner cue. It is similar to the way a branch steadies as it matures. The sprout of integrity develops through reflection. When we recognize the moments we could have acted differently, we refine our path. This is not self-criticism, it is clarity. It is the understanding that integrity grows through small choices, and each time we realign, the sprout becomes more resilient. The sprout of respect. The third stirring arises in shared spaces. There is a natural inclination to soften our tone, to pause before interrupting, to move with awareness when we enter a quiet place. Mencius taught that this instinct becomes the virtue of propriety. It is not about rigid rules, it is about harmony. Like patterns in sand formed by steady wind, this instinct shapes how we interact, how we listen, and how we honor the presence of others. Honoring the space between us. Respect is not submission. It is synchronization. It is the recognition that every interaction carries an unseen rhythm, and we choose whether to disturb it or support it. When we uphold this rhythm, clarity grows, conversations become smoother, tension dissolves, even silence becomes meaningful. This sprout grows whenever we bring intentional presence to our relationships, the sprout of discernment. The fourth stirring is a quiet evaluation, a natural sense of what aligns and what distorts. Mencius called this the beginning of wisdom. It is the capacity to recognize balance and imbalance, fairness and unfairness. This discernment is not loud. It is steady, like the difference between clear and murky water. When we learn to trust this instinct, it becomes a guide through complexity. Reflection as growth. Wisdom develops through reflection. When we pause to examine a choice, we uncover lessons layered beneath the moment. This is how discernment strengthens, through time, patience, and the willingness to review our steps. No external force can do this work for us. It is the slow turning of soil by our own hands, learning without rush. Wisdom also develops through learning, not hurried consumption, but steady absorption. Like rainfall that nourishes roots, knowledge becomes useful when we allow it to settle. When we seek understanding rather than confirmation, our discernment becomes deeper and more stable. Why we lose our sprouts. If these four stirrings live within us, why do they fade? Mencius offered a clear answer. Sprouts wither in harsh conditions. A seed cannot grow where the soil is stripped or trampled. Environments shape whether our early instincts flourish or collapse. The world can dehydrate compassion, press down integrity, or starve wisdom. But this does not mean the sprouts disappear. They lie dormant, waiting for better conditions. The landscape within. Mencius used the image of a mountain stripped of its trees. Not because the mountain lacked life, but because it endured constant cutting. Over time, a barren landscape emerged. Yet the mountain's nature had never changed. It held potential for forests. Circumstance merely covered it. This is the inner landscape for many people. Not empty, not broken, simply neglected. Creating conditions for growth. To revive a barren landscape, conditions must change. Stillness, nourishment, protection. In the same way, the four sprouts strengthen when we create space for them. Through reflection, through honest practice, through choosing influences that lift rather than erode. These choices are the climate that determines whether goodness flourishes. Gentle growth. Growth cannot be forced. A sprout pulled too quickly breaks at the stem. Mencius spoke of those who try to rush virtue and exhaust themselves. True development is gradual, grounded, and steady. When we allow growth to unfold at its own pace, it becomes lasting. If these ideas resonate, consider supporting the channel so episodes like this continue reaching people who need them. Becoming the gardener. When we take responsibility for the conditions around us, we step into the role of gardener, not controlling every detail, simply tending to the essentials, protecting our inner landscape from what erodes it, bringing nourishment where it is lacking. This patient care allows the four sprouts to rise, returning to our nature. The more these sprouts grow, the more natural they feel. Benevolence stops being an effort. Integrity stops being a burden. Respect becomes instinctive. Wisdom becomes calm and constant. This is the return Mencius described. Not a transformation into something new, but a restoration of what was always within. The forest within. When all four sprouts strengthen, they create an inner landscape capable of clarity and steadiness. Each sprout supports the others. Compassion softens judgment. Integrity strengthens action. Respect guides interaction. Wisdom directs it all. Together, they form a forest of character. The path ahead. This philosophy is profoundly hopeful. It teaches that goodness is not rare. It is the common inheritance of every mind. Even when covered, it remains. Even when neglected, it waits. Our task is not to manufacture virtue, but to uncover it. The return to potential. Every day offers a chance to water these sprouts, not with dramatic gestures, but with quiet choices. A moment of reflection, a shift toward honesty, a pause to show respect, a breath taken before judgment. These small acts are the nourishment that changes everything. The four sprouts awaken. The four sprouts Mencius described are still alive within you. They rise like new growth after long winter soil. Compassion, integrity, respect, wisdom. These are not distant ideals. They are the starting points of a steadier life. When you nurture them, you shape a future guided by clarity and grounded strength. And if you want to keep walking this path with us, you are welcome here. Every episode is another step toward the self you are becoming.